So some of you are not going to like this video today because I'm going to actually tell you why you're not getting what you want, right? Because at the end of the day, there are results, right, where we want to go. Results, outcomes. And most of the people think that education and the knowledge that you get is going to get you there. That is a fallacy, right? I promise you, we all have access to the same information, but why am I a multimillionaire living a life exactly how I want and I barely graduated high school? Because of what I'm going to teach you today. So, who am I? If you haven't watched any of my videos before, my name is Matt Petruso. I own an insurance agency. I own a real estate investment company. I've done over $10 million in sales. These are both industries I knew nothing about. And also, I barely graduated high school. I got fired from my 9-to-5 job, but now I get to live however I want on my terms. I have homes in multiple countries. I travel the world, and I live life exactly how I have planned it. So I'm going to teach you exactly what no one else is teaching you, right? Because I guarantee you, I could tell you exactly what to do to make $1 million, to get a six-pack, and why would 99.9% of people not actually get the desired result? It's because they do not understand what I'm going to be teaching you today. Information will not make you rich. It will not make you fit. It will not get you the life that you desire. You have to understand the formula that I'm going to teach you today. So let me tell you a quick story about this in real life. I've paid so much money over the years in masterminds, events, and all this stuff, trying to find other like-minded people that kind of knew this path, this secret, right? And unfortunately, most people are, not that well off. But besides the point, I went to this Grant Cardone growth conference about, I think, like 5 years ago. I got a VIP ticket. It was like over $5,000. I'm like, if I pay for the VIP ticket, I'm gonna be sitting with some ballers, right? I'm gonna be sitting with the top tier people that are gonna have this formula. They're gonna know what life's about. And I'm like, okay, great. So I sit down and I'm sitting next to this guy, and this guy was just dropping bomb after bomb of knowledge, right? Like, he had so much information about marketing, sales, copywriting, Facebook ads, all types of stuff. He knew way more than me, right? He was way smarter than me. And, eventually I was like, damn, bro, I didn't even ask you what you do. Like, what do you do? And he goes, I'm actually, an accountant, and I work for this firm, and, someday I'm trying to start my own thing and do like some marketing agency and stuff like that. And I'm like, how long have you been studying and come to these events? Oh, I've been doing this for like 5 years now. I'm like, what? And he's still working the same job. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why does this guy have way more information than me, right? But he's not getting the results that he desired. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to have financial freedom. He wanted to quit his 9-to-5 job. He was telling me all this stuff, but he wasn't getting the results, right? So first, the reason why I'm telling you that story is because he didn't understand what I'm going to teach you today. So obviously we have results, right? Results or outcomes, right? So there is a path to get the results and outcomes. The first step is we must understand that the actions, right? The actions that you take will determine the results and the outcomes of your life, right? If we can't agree that this is the fundamental piece, that you have to actually do something to get the results and outcomes, if you're going to blame the world, if you're going to blame other outside sources other than what you do, then we can't even go any further, right? We stop the path, right? To get the results and the outcomes, first we must understand that your actions get there, right? But it's not that easy, right? So what creates the actions? Well, the actions are dictated by your decisions, right? So your decisions create the actions that you take, right? And everybody's like, oh, well, that makes sense, right? Well, okay, well, if I make better decisions, I will take better actions, I will get better results, I will have the outcomes that I desire. Great. But what people do not teach you is how do you make decisions, okay? So to make decisions, you must understand the pieces of making decisions. Most people think that if I just, and there's two pieces. So to make proper decisions, there's actually two fundamental pieces. So most people think that it is just information, right? Info, part of information is changing the belief that you have, right? So information is your belief, right? So information is the knowledge that you get can create the beliefs in your brain to say, okay, I can achieve this thing, all right? So if I believe this and I make decisions according to my beliefs, then I will make actions that will get me the results that I desire, right? So this is the desire. The end outcome is the desired result. Okay, well, why, if I told everybody the same information, you have access to the same information, the people that had much more knowledge than I have, why were they not getting the results that I had, right? I was confused by this. So the other piece that most people do not think about is understanding that our brain, so the decision maker is made up by your brain, right? So decisions are made and processed in your brain. Most people think, well, if I just get more information, I will make better decisions. That's not the case, okay? So information, that goes into what's known as your logical or forebrain, right? Your reasoning brain. But this, acts as, it's very energy intensive, right? So to use your front brain, we'll go into another video on how to actually understand how your brain works. But in this video, you just need to understand that there are two pieces of the decision maker in your brain. The front part of your brain, which is your logical. So we put logic, right? So logic, right? That's here. However, what most people do not understand is the second part of your brain, which is your emotional. The emotional part of your brain. And this is actually where most decisions are made, because most people haven't mastered the ability to handle their logical part of their brain, because it's very energy intensive. So they just think, well, I'm just going to get more information and I will do what's necessary to get the results that I desire. That's not the case. You most understand your emotional part of your brain. And this is where the values that you prescribe to the world lie. So I'll give you an example. Imagine you're like, well, I want to make $1 million. Okay, what are the actions that I need to do? Okay, why am I not doing those actions? We need to go back. What decisions am I making on a daily basis? Okay, well, I know what to do. This is where you know what to do. So I could know what to do, right? I have the information that I know what to do to make the $1 million. But my decisions are not leading me to take the actions to get the outcomes that I desire. What is happening? What's happening is because there is a incongruence between your values and your beliefs and your information that you've received. So let's say if you value, right, sleeping in, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, but you know that the actions are required to take to make $1 million. You need to get up early, you need to be disciplined, you need to do a lot of stuff to actually make $1 million. You know this, but you value your sleep, right? That's a very crude way of thinking about it, but think about it in a standpoint of this guy, going back to the story of the guy that I met at the conference. He knew everything, right? He had the information. He had the belief that he could do it, right? People say, well, you just need to have the belief. No, but he valued security I was listening to him. He valued security very, very much. And he had an incongruence in between the values that he held and the beliefs that he knew, right? And there's a way that if you understand this process, all you have to do is tie the value to the correct beliefs that will lead to the decisions and the actions to get your outcomes. So let me give an example. That same guy that had the security as his value, he even knew what he needed to do to get the outcomes that he desired, but he thought that and this is happening subconsciously, so he didn't even know this was occurring. I know it now because I've dealt with many people that I know how this process works. So your emotional part of your brain, which is your hind brain, right? That is your fast acting brain, and your logic brain is slow acting, right? So this one is very strong. Jonathan Haidt gave a great analogy of the elephant and the rider. The elephant is this big, massive, creature, and the rider is trying to control it. So I tell everybody you should try and calm and train the elephant, but also strengthen the rider. And we'll go into that more in detail. Actually, I call it the accountant and the athlete, but we'll go into that in another video. But getting back to how that same value that he had, he didn't need to change his values. People think that you need to change your values to get the outcomes you desire. That is not the case. If this guy had that security as his value, his highest value, he could still create a congruent belief, right? He could tell himself a better story and say, the only way to achieve security is by leaving the safe and secure job, because that is that's actually more dangerous to be in that position, to not have autonomy over his life. He needed to tell himself that the only way that I can have security is if I create my own life, if I have my own security, if I have my own financial freedom. And then if he would have still had the security as his primary value, but then attached it properly with the right story, that now every decision that he made was automatically going to get him and make the actions that he was taking get the outcomes and the results that he desired. So if you're not doing something or making the decisions properly, you have to go back to, yes, of course, you need the information. That's fine. Okay, that's easy. Anybody can get information. I know so many people that have way more information than me, but do not have the life that I have. So don't think that you can just outsmart somebody. You have to understand that you have two parts of your brain, and if they do not work congruently together, you will not get the desired results that you want. Okay? So if you understand this, you can make sure that the beliefs that you hold, right, the information that you get, connects to the values that you have. And in another video, I'm going to teach you exactly how the brain works and how we can actually manage, the elephant and the rider, the athlete and the accountant. Well, this is the athlete and the accountant. And I'm going to teach you how to actually understand what your highest values are. This is another video if you're interested, specifically about how to know what your values are, so you can connect them directly to the beliefs and the information that you get. So automatically the decisions that you make will lead to the actions to get you the results and the outcomes. It is very, very simple. Life is very simple. But if you do not know how to connect these properly, right? So you want to connect these values and beliefs so automatically they work congruently. So when you do not have energy, when you're not disciplined, right? The emotional brain and the logical brain will continue to make the same decision. But if they are not working together, right, your decision-making process is always going to be a mess, and you will never get the outcomes or the results that you desire. So you must understand that you have emotional, you have logical, you have the beliefs and the values that you hold. That creates the decisions in your life, that creates the actions you will take, and that in turn will create the outcomes of your life. If you thought this was useful, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. Follow me on Instagram, MOVMATT, and this stuff I should literally be charging you thousands of dollars for, and I'm giving it away for free. So Don't be a nerd. Follow the steps. Peace.